let me share my screen with you and we will dive in here. This was something I started working on. As you know, I'm working on a new book called the Compassionate Leadership. And it's been on my heart to really work to take this not just to adults, right? I really feel like this is something that we need to be teaching to our young people again, right? The idea behind compassion, and wanted to be able to just kind of play and see what kind of support I could get from ChatGPT for developing the characters and the series and things like that. So it was an idea for a brand new series. So I said, let's explore a series of books for young teens about leadership and what it means to lead with love and compassion, welcoming discord, engaging in conversation with an open mind and a willingness to understand. So really going back to teaching young people that it's good to have conversation. It's good to get different opinions without feeling like you're going to be attacked for not agreeing with everyone. You know, that to be able to stand and have that, you know, speak from the place of compassion. So really driven by that particular the particular idea around that. So I started really playing with chat on that topic. So it was great. It really, you know, it said the heart of a leader. It gave me the name of the series, and it was like the courage to care and the names of the different books, right? The courage to care, strength and understanding, voices that matter. I liked it, and I will tell you what I'm like, but then it made me realize I needed to go different. And here's why. This series could be a powerful resource for young readers to understand that leadership isn't just about authority. It's about heart, compassion, and the courage to welcome differences. Absolutely, right? What do you think of this direction? I was like, I really like that direction, but I wanted to play with it just a little bit more. And my reasoning for it is I want my granddaughter who wants to be a missionary to enjoy this book. Right. I really want, I have my granddaughter who's now 8 in mind, but this is written, you know, a little bit older child. So, in middle school age could probably, you know, they would really benefit from this. So, okay, I like this direction. And I would like to weave in a Christian perspective with subtle biblical references. Can you do that? So I was just very curious to see how chat would respond, right? Especially when it comes to bringing that Christian perspective into it. And it did a really great job, right? So we can weave in subtle Christian principles that align with the theme of love, compassion, humility, and understanding, using Bible verses as inspiration for each book's core message. The references will be subtle yet clear enough to guide readers towards biblical values without overtly focusing on scripture, making it approachable for a broader audience. Perfect. That's absolutely what I want to do. I want to be able to have a book that can be read by anyone, right? Mm-hmm. Here's how we can integrate that perspective, right? So the heart of a leader, a journey of faith, the courage to care, strength and understanding, voices that matter, lead with love. And, you know, it does give Bible references. You'll see those Bible references here. So it depends on whether I choose to add something like that or you know, this is guided. It's telling me where it's guided from, where they're taking this particular characteristic from, which I really appreciate. It's like, okay, there's a biblical reference that it's not just making stuff up, right? It's really taking the values that are found in the Bible. So, which is great. So the open door, and so the series elements, I really like that it gave me this, right? It said the series elements. So character values. Characters can exemplify the fruit of the spirit, subtly throughout the series: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So it's really, and it's, you know, prayerful moments, like include moments where Alex or another character prays for wisdom. So it's making some different suggestions that you could include in this, right? Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, I like this direction and would like to weave in a Christian. I think I hit the button too soon, right? And I'm like, oh, wait.
It's okay.
Right. And
our suitcase, right?
Yeah.
So then I went, okay, let's go. I want to do some more character development. Like I like the direction it's going in, but I really wanted to go into character development. So I really sat with this and I said, okay, let's take a look at the first book and work on character development. Alex is a high school freshman. She's on a debate team and a lacrosse team. She was raised in a Christian home with loving family. She had grown up with 3 older brothers who were all very athletic and very protective of her. Her oldest brother just left for college on a football scholarship, and her other brothers, twins, are juniors at her school. And I named the school and are star athletes on the varsity football team. Alex is trying her hardest to make a name for herself. For too long, she has lived in her brother's shadow. She wanted to be a leader, a true inspiration, but often struggles with speaking out. She finds her voice when she makes a new friend, Callie. So I explained the characters as I envisioned them in my mind, right? So really taking the time to go into it. And being the middle child, recently blended family, she feels left out, and often, most of the time, I made the mistake. Oh, Callie struggles with self-confidence and doesn't make friends easily. Being the middle child of a recently blended family, she feels left out and forgotten most of the time. She often wishes her mom were still alive and they could go back to before she got sick. Things the girls have in common. This is a new school for both of them. They are both on the debate team. They love to sing and perform, and they both like boys. These are my thoughts for a starting point, right? I wanted to bring in that early teen, that early pubescent. Oh, they're just starting to get interested in boys, and what dynamic does that bring to it? So I appreciate it. It actually complimented, right? This is fantastic starting point for character development of Alex and Charlie. I love that it says that. I'm like, thank you. So going back into this, right? So it's really going into the character development, and you, Leilani, I know you understand this, right? You understand what it's like to do the character development. You can explore the characters, the stories, the things that you need chat to help you with, especially if you've got a block, right? If there's something that you're just feeling blocked about, or there's something you want to go deeper on. I have another book series that I'm working on right now that I've written it in my head a number of times. It's about my grandparents and my parents. And so I'm using chat to help me flesh that out, so I can give a real good visual description to their background, their personality traits. Really gives me a good description, right? Determined, but based on the information that I gave it. It's really kind of taking the information and going one step deeper. Determined but unsure. She's motivated to lead and makes a name for herself, but her confidence is still developing. Her heart is in the right place, but she often second guesses herself, especially in front of her peers. When speaking up, feels risky. She's compassionate. And so it's really nice that it's giving me the character traits for both girls, and it even gave them last names. And I'm okay with these last names, Alex Parker and Callie Thompson. I might change them, but I like the names, right? They're comfortable. 14-year-old freshman, and it talks about who she is, and it has all the details about it, right? And then their relationship dynamics, right? Which is beautiful. So they have a shared experience, they have a support system. As they grow closer, their faith exploration, their friendship will naturally lead to discussions about faith. While Alex has a more foundational belief, Callie's questions and struggles allow Alex to explore her own faith, which is beautiful, right? I love that it took it in that direction. And often finding strength in prayer and scripture, which is great. Moments of growth. I love this. I'm really happy that it took the direction, like it's almost like it took the direction, but gave it back to me in really well-defined bullet points, right? It got what I was trying to communicate in that character development. And I think sometimes that's the hardest part for somebody writing a book. It's the character development or explaining what they want their characters to be like, feel like the emotions that they deal with and their personality. So book Courage to Care, we need a conflict that not only challenges Alex and Callie individually, but also sets the foundation of emerging friendship. Because remember, this first book is where they're first meeting.
Yeah.
Right. So we have to make sure that we address that. And it's like I didn't have to remind Chat of that. And I didn't have to remember in my head of that. Right. Like, oh yeah, this is where they're first meeting. So really going down that. So we go to the central conflict, school project and group dynamic. And it brings in other characters. So it brings in 2 other characters that they're supposed to work, or 3 that they're supposed to work with. And it talks about the group includes a mix of personalities and outspoken student Sarah, essentially awkward, intelligent student Evan, and one who is dismissive and apathetic Taylor. Right? So that is a mix of the personalities that you get in high school. One I remember from high school. So the group dynamics are challenging from the start. Sarah's dominating, Evan is overlooked, Tyler is uninterested, and Callie is too shy to speak up. And Alex, while wanting to take a leadership role, is hesitant to assert herself due to the presence of a more assertive personality. So it talks about the conflict progress, the escalation, which is, and just reading through this is phenomenal, right? It talks about the resolution, the lesson, key scenes to highlight the lesson. I'm like, this is everything that I'm looking for to be able to develop this series. So it is really, really helpful in utilizing chat in this way. So, even from this perspective, I'm like, okay, this is definitely the direction I want to go in. So I would probably think a little bit more like, okay, let's take the first shot at the manuscript. Is there anything that I would change from these key scenarios? Is there a little bit of a plot twist or anything else that I want to add in here that's not covered, right? I want it to be, but I have to remember who my reader is. And I think that working with ChatGPT is keeping me in that mindset of my young reader that this is going to speak to who they are. So I'm excited about it. So that's one of the things that I would highly recommend when you're exploring, whether it's writing a program. You could do the same thing when you're working on a course or a book outline, or if you're doing a presentation. I think that's one of the things that I'm working on. I don't know if I might have done a training on this one already, on outlining a course and then extracting the outline and putting it into Publisher. So if not, that's one of the things I've recently learned how to do, and it's been pretty dynamic and helping me create some presentations rather quickly. So being able to explore with that has been fun. So I'll stop my share. Do you have questions about this before I stop sharing?
Can you go up to where your big paragraph?
Oh, yes. And if you would like, I will make this one.
Yeah. I mean, you just did such a good, I'm just looking at it because I have found chat to be very helpful in the different things that I have. But you just gave them you just gave them a little overview of each person. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want, I will make sure that when I upload this, usually when I upload lessons, I put the prompts into the text part.
Okay.
So if you haven't seen them there, I usually put them in the text part. I think this is too long for me to put in the chat on Zoom.
Hmm.
So, but I
Yeah.
will make sure that I put the prompts there so that you can go back and look at them, and if you feel free to use them as a guide. Um,
Okay.
it's fun because one of the things that I am learning, and from the experience of working with ChatGPT, it's really, the whole idea of prompting is really about having a conversation and be able to describe what's in your mind, right? So
Mhm.
how often do we get to do that?
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. It really is kind of just like really sit there like, okay, how am I going to describe it so it understands what I'm looking for?
Hmm.
And the more detail you can give it, the deeper understanding it has of the direction that you want it to go in.
Hmm. I'm curious, with this book series, are you giving it a different prompt, the prompt, the part that describes your voice and how you want it to respond to? Did you change that at all for this book?
No, I didn't. I didn't
Okay.
change my custom instructions at all. So it really, it has a good understanding of me, but in this point, it's not doing this work not for me. It's very specific to the book that I've outlined for it to understand.
Hmm.
I feel like it's got a sense of how I write,
Hmm.
right? So it still has a sense of how I write and the way I write. But it's really pulling from the directions I'm giving it for this particular project.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting to see and explore as I go forward with it, how much more it brings my personality into it. It's funny because I find myself even thinking back to when I was a freshman in high school. I came from a different school. I moved school districts from high school to, so I took some of that, a little bit of that experience. So there's a little bit of that personality in there. I have three brothers, but I don't have twin brothers. And yeah,
Hmm.
my brother experience was a little different. I have two older, one younger, that whole deal. But I just,
Hmm.
it's interesting to play with that, and just, remember some of the experiences that I went through when I was in high school and new to a school, new to making friends. And the first person I met in my homeroom was still my best friend.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah,
That's nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's pretty cool.